Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we're out here at the home of our production partners, Hubcast Media, and it's time for another episode of Our City Tonight. Oh, Lita, we have lots to do.
We do, so let's get right to Our City Tonight.
This ain't no summer thing. This ain't no summer thing.
What you're looking at right now is a song you will be humming the second you hear it. It's the video for a hit single from New Zealand, also a huge hit in Australia. It's coming our way just in time for our summer. The song is called Summer Thing. We've got the front man for the hip, very cool band, LA. We've got Alex Farrell-Davey joining us where it is Saturday morning in Auckland and with another New Zealand spotlight. Alex, welcome to Our City Tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. It's good to be here.
You know, Alex, it's a super interesting video, too, to go along with just an incredible song. And yes, I've been humming it. Darn you. It's really awesome that we're getting it coming to Canada now. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration? It's indie pop is your genre, about this particular song that's absolutely skyrocketing.
I mean, initially we didn't really know what to do with the song. It seemed like it wanted a more conventional treatment, but we just got given a really strange kind of idea to have gothic people hanging out on a beach trying to enjoy themselves. And the kind of just general strangeness of that seemed to mesh with everyone in the band and everyone working on it. And we just thought, screw it, let's do it. So yeah, it just kind of is what it is. And I just look at it and it's great.
I love the song. I mean, you guys work with a group. Is it Vision Things, the guys that you work with, or Vision Kings?
Vision Thing, yeah.
Yeah, Vision Thing to put this video together. I just find it so interesting because the song is so catchy and infectious that even goths would dance on the beach.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think at the end of the day, that was it. You know what I mean? It was so, hopefully so unavoidable to just get inside the happiness of the song. That was the plan.
And Alex, one of your top hits, I guess it's what sort of catapulted you to your first taste of fame, was Hit Me Where It Hurts. There was 5 of the top best video directors involved in that. Can you give us a little insight into that particular song?
I mean, that song for us was, it was the start of a kind of new direction and a whole new project. And we thought, what better way to, I don't know, get ourselves some more publicity and make things look awesome. And what better way than to get 5 really prolific people along to all direct a segment each. And at the end of it, it all came together really well. Everyone was really stoked. We were worried about how it might all tie through, but at the end of the day, it was really good. It's one of my favourite videos we've ever made.
And you guys have had remarkable success for a very brief time in the business as, say, as a band. How are you finding ways to reach your audience? Because I'm sure right now, under normal circumstances, if this is, say, a year ago, you guys would be ready to probably come over here to North America on the strength of this new single that we're getting here, Summer Thing.
I mean, that would have been ideal for us, and that wasn't the pipeline. That was what we wanted to do. But obviously, you know, COVID has kind of infected every situation as well as every person that it possibly could. So, I mean, it's been hard, but ultimately, most bands have a pretty strong online presence now, and we have, you know, I mean, we're fortunate enough to be able to listen to music and stream music at all times. That in itself is great, you know, artists still get royalties, but I mean, you know, it's put a spanner in the works, but it hasn't messed everything up too much. We're still working, we're still creating, and yeah, we're still good.
Good. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you here in Canada, hopefully very soon when everything gets cleared up. Thanks, Alex, for joining us, and hello to the whole band.
Thank you.
Yeah, we want to thank, thanks to Mike, who got up early with you in Auckland. We want to thank Amanda in New York for bringing this. Boy, I tell you, it is my favorite song right now at the moment. Alex, it's Summer Thing. We're going to have more information on LA at the end of the show, including where you can find this song and the band's website. Thank you, Alex, and thanks to New Zealand for sending us a great song. You are looking at some photos from a soon-to-be-released movie called 92. It's from Rick Dugdale. He is a producer, a writer, director. He's also the co-founder of Enderby Entertainment, and he joins us from one of my favorite places on the planet, Palm Springs. Rick, welcome to our city tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And Rick, you are actually a BC native, and we were talking about the name of your company, Enderby, so, well, I guess we put two and two together, but not that quickly, that you're from Enderby. You have a new film in post-production right now, and I think what's most interesting about the film 92 is how you shot it. Can you share with our audience what that was all about?
Yeah, you know, we put this film together once we went into lockdown with the pandemic, and we were kind of trying to figure out how we could make a film under the parameters that we're living under. So we have 60 people working around the world. We're shooting using Zoom as a platform for us to stand on the set. And then from there, we're working with each of the actors in 8 different countries and taking an inventory of what cameras and what materials they have to work with. And from there, we direct them how to shoot it. So we stand on the set with Zoom and make our film that way.
And Rick, you know, it's no secret that you have to evolve and adapt and alter to survive. We're doing that with our show. Going beyond, say, this movie, and you're based in LA, is this going to be a dramatic change in the way movies are made? Is there going to be more animation? What do you see coming in the next couple of years?
There's certainly a lot of talk about more animation. You know, the thing about animation is it still takes 18 months to take to market, so there's going to be a long lead time for that. I think what we've discovered with this is it's allowing us all to come together globally using technology and obviously Zoom and Skype and different internet platforms. But it also tells us that, you know, maybe the timelines and the production process that we've all used for so many years can be changed, and we can adapt so that after, you know, hopefully when the world gets back to normal, there's going to be something we can utilize from what we're doing with this in our everyday production schedules and plans.
And Rick, you were talking 8 countries. Did you find any of them different, or was it kind of across the board similar?
You know, when we set out to make this, I guess our only regret is not adding more countries, because it's been so fascinating shooting in these different countries. We had a list of items that would become obstacles for production, everything from, you know, whether it be a language barrier to a Wi-Fi connection, which are things you don't normally have to deal with while making a traditional film. But for us, you know, shooting on the same time zone, because the whole film, different time zones, but the whole film takes place over 60 minutes. And so a lot of times we're shooting in real time in these countries. So it's midnight our time in Los Angeles, and it's 9 a.m. in Germany or France, and 11 a.m. in Dubai. And that gets really complicated, obviously, as we're going through different time zones like that.
Rick, before we let you go, we've got to talk about this, I call it Lord of the Rings type shooting, where you did a trilogy back to back to back in what, 4 or 5 countries. Talk about the Intrigo anthology and where people can see that, because it's got a great selection of actors. And speaking of them, you have worked with some great actors, including people like Ben Kingsley and Anthony Hopkins. Talk about this anthology of films that was shot back to back to back. Yeah,
so actually Intrigo was kind of the motivation behind 92, actually. We put that film together shooting, Serbia, Slovenia, Croatia, Belgium, hosting in Sweden. It was a UK company in the structure that we set up with 330 crew and 6 different languages, 7 currencies, very complex. And, you know, very unusual, the fact that we shot them all back to back to back with the same filmmaker. And so we were able to prep for 4 months, shoot for 6 months, and it was almost like a studio feature that would be done with 100 days of shooting. So from that, we could streamline the post-production process, and it was all kind of a smooth creative aspect that we could all be part of. And once we see the final result with those final 3 films, that was kind of how we thought, well, maybe this is something we could do with 92 remotely as well. So very interesting concept, certainly.
Well, we're looking forward to viewing 92, definitely, especially knowing a little bit of the background of it. We really appreciate you being on the show, and we wish you lots of luck.
Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, guys.
Enjoy.
Much appreciated.
You bet. Watch for 92 coming in July, hopefully, fingers crossed. Great new interesting movie. And check out more information on Rick and his company, EnderbyEntertainment.com. All the details on Rick and these movies coming at the end of our show.
We are joined by Chris Smith, who is a financial restructuring expert and the founder of debtco.ca. Welcome, Chris. Can you share a little bit about what Debtco does?
Absolutely. It's interesting, Lita. First of all, thanks for having me on. Last week there was an article that came out that was on Bloomberg and BNN that about 50% of the Canadian population is within $200 of being insolvent currently.
Wow, okay, that's really scary, and I know that debt brings up a lot of fear, and probably a lot of people are ashamed too.
You know what, they are ashamed. It's not something that you sit in your back porch having a beer in the summertime talking about your debts. So we're really here to help people in companies that are in trouble with their finances to restructure their debts based on ability and to make the math work. Because right now it's, in a lot of cases, not working.
Yeah, so why are you so passionate about this particular industry?
I love this industry and it's close to my heart. I am in an interesting scenario where I've gone really from bankrupt to banker. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to tell you a story about how I got here. Back in my early 20s, I, with a family partner, got involved in some real estate and had 11 rental properties and 22 acres of development land at about 22 years of age.
Wow.
Which was great, except that I was naive and young and the market changed and it crashed very quickly. So in a period of 6 months, I went from everything being great to mass panic and chaos and you know, I was trying to solve these challenges and I was certainly looking for the help and trying to get through these things. And while I was going through this, I took my last $10,000 and I invested into a collection agency. So I go to work and I'm essentially in the world of collecting money. I go home and I'm fire selling a home. My Jeep just disappeared because they repossessed it, and I've got some challenges. Now, I don't know if you remember the old, there was an American Express commercial way back in the day, and it was about, you know, this couple, they went away on holidays and they lost their luggage, and well, it's okay because they've got their American Express card. Well, I'm going through all those challenges and all those problems. In that I had a pre-booked holiday. Well, I came back from that holiday and I couldn't pay for my credit card bill. So I got on the phone with the credit card company, had a chat, and that $8,000 American Express bill, they were happy to take $500 and call it a day.
Wow.
So I thought, wow, that was it. Wow, light bulb, right? I thought, here's something. So I've essentially taken that experience and had 20 years from that date of consulting and helping people. Yet moved forward to the late 2000s, and my wife at the time broke her back in a horseback riding accident. So I came home, I really wound down the business. I was looking after 2 small kids. I thought, maybe I should get a job. So something that had benefits, all those good things, great. I got a job with one of the Canadian chartered banks and spent 13 years on that side. So I've really played both sides of the coin. I've you know, been there, I've been bankrupt, and that wasn't that much fun back in the day. And I've been on the banker side doing $100 million a year for a chartered bank. So you get to see all that inside and both sides, which is super valuable when you sit across from everybody, because you've been there.
So Chris, tell us about the successes that you've had with, with clients with debtco.ca.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I've helped about 3,000 clients over many years, and we've got about a 95% success rate, restructured about $2 billion worth of debt, and arranged for settlements that average about 27 cents on the dollar. So it's been fantastic. An average plan would be, let's say somebody's got $100,000 in credit card and tax debt. An average plan would be about 27% of that, structured over 3 to 5 years, interest-free, and they avoid going bankrupt.
Oh, and you're allowing people to sleep again and have some peace.
The stress, you can see it from, I can sit down with somebody, and when you first meet with them, they're like this, and by the time you can just see the stress, because there are solutions, there's ways to get through this stuff. And that's what we're all about.
And that's wonderful. Well, we are here with Chris Smith, and he is in fact going to be our expert, our financial restructuring expert on future episodes of Our City Tonight. So be sure to join us. We're going to cover all kinds of interesting topics to help people have money peace of mind. So thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Well, we're still watching a lot of movies at home, not as much as we were, say, about a month ago, but you and I don't do this often enough, but we want to talk about a couple of things that we've seen recently that we want to pass on. You've got one that we both watched that I think a lot of people have watched, and that is this documentary on Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my gosh, this documentary, Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, it's enduring.
No, you can't say you enjoy this film by any means.
No, it's an endurance. It's a 4-part documentary, and it was released at the end of May. It's disturbing. I guess we all kind of know the story of Jeffrey Epstein, but what's really fascinating is how far it goes back and how long this guy got away with what he was doing. In fact, they even dubbed his one island, pedophile island. It's disturbing, but it's interesting to watch, and you really, you get a full view of what some super wealthy people do get away with.
Yeah, I think, I said to you when we were both watching it in our homes that there's not a lot of surprises here. Most people do know a lot about this guy. What I found really despicable and horrific was just how long. I didn't know much about him pre-1990, and this really goes all the way back to the 70s.
Oh, it's 4 decades. It's unbelievable, but it is believable, especially in lieu of what we're experiencing in the world now.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, a lot of famous people coming through those moments in that documentary. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's something you want to enjoy. It's something you endure, but it's certainly
it's fascinating.
Worth watching. Yeah. I've got one here. In all my years as a film critic, it was always nice when you give a good review or help people avoid a bad review. But I always liked it when I could find a little movie that might have slipped through the cracks behind all the big ones. Now, this movie was supposed to come out, I think, in April. It's a little movie called Working Man. It's out on VOD. It's now out on DVD if you're still buying those or renting those. A guy whose name you will not know, but a guy's face you probably would. And the guy's name is Peter Garrity. He is the star. He really gets to star in a movie, but he gets to star and play the lead in this movie called Working Man. It is a story of a lifelong factory worker who, and this has been quite common since the 80s, where they come in and they say, we're shutting the factory down. And what he does in reaction to that, and he's got a backstory. Talia Shire, remember her from The Godfather and the Rocky movies? She's in this movie. Billy Brown is in this film, but just to watch Peter Garrity, you watch these actors who've been journeyman actors or actresses for years, to see them get a starring role. This movie is a good movie with a great performance. Working Man is the name of this little movie, which really is touching, and Garrity just shows why he's been an actor for decades. Look for it, it's available now.
And there's lots of great things coming out on Netflix as well.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, it's almost, you can't keep up because we are going outside more.
Yeah, a little more, that's right. There's our movie review. We hope you enjoy what we recommended. She is a 6-time Juno Award nominee. Her latest album, which is her 13th, is called Dance With Me. It is due on July 31st. I'm talking about a wonderful jazz singer and pianist, songwriter coming to us from Los Angeles, welcoming Carol Welsman to our city tonight. Carol, it's been a lot of years since we talked, but welcome to our show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Jim.
Oh, great. Carol, let's talk a bit about your new album. I've been watching you, following your music for a long time. I like what you're going to do with this new album. Tell our viewers all about it.
Oh, it's a pleasure to. This is it's the one challenge is producing an album in a pandemic, but we were able to track at the very beginning of March, and I still have a few touches to be put on the album and do a few more vocals. But to give you the bigger picture, it's produced by a 4-time Grammy-winning producer and arranger named Oscar Hernandez. And Oscar came to me, and my drummer said, "You've got to meet this guy. I think you should let him arrange all the music," which is something I normally do. I've always arranged my own music. So this was a big challenge for me, and I was really up for the challenge because I wanted to do a Latin jazz album, and I don't know that idiom as well as I know Brazilian and swing and some of the others that I've played for many years. So Oscar came up with these beautiful arrangements, and we got together with all the Latin band and rehearsed. And when I heard the songs, I just knew that we were in for a good one. And also, a very particular thing to mention is that I'm singing in English 98% of the time. on the album. But some of the songs are famous boleros and cha-cha-chas and Latin classics, if you will, and we have adapted them in English for the first time. So this is an interesting repertoire to bring to the North American audience because a lot of people have never heard these songs, so they're going to hear them in English. And then there's some originals as well. So it's very exciting. And the most important is the duet that I'm doing with Juan Luis Guerra, who has sold 70 million albums worldwide. He's a huge star and he's such a sweetheart. So I wrote English lyrics to his song Si Tu No Bailas Conmigo, and he graciously accepted to sing a duet. So I'm thrilled.
Carol, what I love is that you were talking earlier about the pandemic that we were come out of over the last few months and finding ways to entertain your fans with no concerts. You're really active on social media. I was following, of course, you're doing a lot of Facebook concerts for your fans. Basically, that's what everybody's doing now, yeah?
Yes, there are other platforms, like Stage It and things like that. But I've that's sort of too much for my brain. I find that Facebook is. I have a regular show every Saturday at 2, and that's kind of a strategic time that I chose because I have a lot of fans in Japan and I have a lot of fans in Europe and on the East Coast, and so it seems that everybody's either having a drink before dinner and they can tune in, or they're just getting out of bed in the morning in Japan, or it's an evening thing in Europe. So it's working out very well.
Carol, we want to thank you for joining us today. Folks out there, they want to know more details, carolwelsman.com. The 13th album is due July 31st. All the details on Carol will come at the end of the show as well. Carol, a great pleasure to see you again. It has been too long, and I'm glad you're safe and well, and thank you for joining us on Our City Tonight.
Thank you so much, Jim. A real pleasure.
Talk to you soon. She is a freelance makeup artist whose impressive credits include news, magazines, editorials, the Olympics, and a long list of celebrity and entertainers for popular TV talk shows. She is a fantastic person. Wow, I didn't realize she was actually doing all this stuff, and I've known her a long time. I'm looking at notes going, wow. Nicole Harvey, you really are all that. It's good to have you on our show.
Thanks for having me, Jim and Lita. I'm excited to be here.
Nico, we're going to talk a little bit about, and this is appropriate as people are emerging from isolation over the last couple months, slowly, cautiously. You know that people are going to be spending time outdoors. We want to talk about the do's and don'ts of self-tanning. There are several do's and don'ts. Let's start. We've got some images here of do's and don'ts.
All right.
Tell us what people should do and not do.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know, we're coming out of our cocoons, emerging into these beautiful butterflies. Some of us are a little pastier than others. And, you know, what are the keys to looking beautifully sun-kissed? You know, we've long had a love and hate relationship with self-tanning because it's not always foolproof. So, you know, here's some tips and keys to a bit of a seamless fake tan. First and foremost, exfoliation. You know, we've got dry spots on our skin. Using something from the drugstore, something that you've got in your arsenal of exfoliants. Get in the shower, really exfoliate to get rid of those dry skin patches. It's important to use a coarse scrub that's not greasy, so there's no film left on your body. And also make sure 24 hours ahead of time you have finished your shaving, and 2 days ahead of time you have done your waxing. Next thing you need to do, dry off, Jim. You've got to dry off, Jim and Lita, all the way. Make sure there's no moisture left on your skin whatsoever. That's really important. You know, wait 10 minutes, and that means your self-tanner will go on even more evenly. I don't know, Lita, if you've ever done self-tanning and you've realized, oh my gosh, I've got self-tanner brownie orange marks between my fingers and my knuckles, that kind of thing. So you feel like you look like a little bit of an Oompa Loompa in your hands.
Guilty.
You know, I always take a moisturizer of some sort, just a light lotion that you would use on your body, and dab some of those drier patches, your elbows, around your wrists, up onto your knuckles, your ankles, the ankle bone, and around your heels and your knees. Sometimes for some of us have drier skin around there. That's really, really important. So that's sort of like the prep angle. Next we have, you know, picking your potion. There's so many. You know, you go to the drugstore, some of the bigger beauty apothecaries, there's so many things to choose from, right? I think the first thing to decide is whether you want a mousse, whether you want a lotion, and whether you want to spray, something that sprays on aerosol or otherwise. I've brought a few with me today. Of course, I've got quite the arsenal of collections for self-tanner in my home. You know, I tend to favor at the moment a mousse. So I've got sort of a drugstore mousse. I've got one from one of the bigger beauty apothecaries, the Saint-Tropez one, a Jergens one. It just comes out in a really nice pump. And what's important about this is, you know, when you pump it out, I'm going to use a little latex glove here. You want to just use a bit of a teaspoon amount to start. I always wear rubber gloves as well. That way I don't even need to really worry about my hands. And, you know, choose one that's light to medium if you have fair skin and darker if you have more of olive, darker toned skin. So use a little bit at a time. Next thing you want to do is whether you're wearing gloves or a mitt. You know, a lot of self-tanner works really well with a mitt, and a lot of the lines sell a mitt to go along with it. You want to start from the bottom and work your way up. So start right down at your feet and your legs and work your way all the way up. Section by section, nice sweeping motions, circular motions, let it really, really soak in. I tend to like to put my self-tanner on in the evening because then I can just go to bed with loose fitting clothing, sleep for my, 8 hours, of course, and then get up in the morning and have a light shower to wash off any extra residue.
That sounds excellent. Great advice.
Nicole, thanks for joining. Of course, we would have loved to have your first appearance with us in the studio or in a restaurant where we're filming, but we appreciate you joining us today. Glad you are well. We got NicoleHarvey.com, by the way. We'll give all the details on Nicole and all her social media information, I should say, at the end. Nico, thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Yeah?
Thank you for having me.
While we're wrapping up the show here at Hubcast Studios.
That's right, Lita. Before we leave, though, a little tribute to our fathers. Father's Day, of course. Look at you there with your dad and your sister. Aren't you adorably cute?
And that's actually at Brockton Oval, too, here in Vancouver.
Oh, is it really? Yeah, okay. Here I am with my father and grandfather, clearly on shore leave at the age of 2, I think.
Nice sailor outfit, Jim.
Very
Wonderful.
popular back then, yes. Anyway, happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. Okay, before we leave, we're going to head out with some more of that great single called Summer Thing from LA. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Sponsorship for the health and wellness segment is provided by Anorex Botanicals Limited.
Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877.
Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics provided by Soluzione Spa Products.
What they want to, yeah, but they don't say how I fit with you and how you fit with me. How we go together, strange birds, strange feathers, sun shining, the bad weather, don't matter, whatever. There's something about the way you feel, it feels good. Yeah, don't